Hello, Juan here and Rebuilding from Scratch, and today is reflection day. Today is all about reflection, and let's talk about what happened in the last week and a half or so. So my other company, Melon, it was the end of financial year, which today is the 4th of July, so we're only being 4 days in. And so we were closing the books. We need to do capital planning for the next 12 months, look at the next goals, and do all sorts of things that I'm not a Blue Melon all the time, but I do help with this part. And I get visibility over the year of the 12 months on some of the top level things that are born out of these sessions that I'm having with the team, which is pretty cool. So because of that, Reinvention OS, which is the idea that I'm exploring, it was kind of put on a second level. It was not the priority for the 2 weeks. But when we talk about progress, I did a few things. So as the space of reinventing yourself, it's such a big space, right? Like, it's so big that I decided to tackle more like going to HR departments, right? And the HR departments I kind of think would be very useful because I wanted to focus on companies that are doing layoffs or exiting strategies and then build a beautiful experience to those people that are trying to reinvent themselves, or they're gonna want to find a different job or maybe a different path. And so by doing that, then I can focus on, I need to do research on HR people. And I did interview one person on recruitment HR company Atlassian. Her name is Sully. And basically she did bring a couple of things that are very important to consider when thinking about the experience. And this is early days. I've been planning to probably interview 10 to 15 people. If I can get them to talk to me. It's challenging to get, obviously, people to give you time, and so I'm really appreciative for Sully. But things are, there are different exit strategies based on the person's role, or how the person performed, or you may even want to check, she was telling me, if the company is even interested in having a beautiful exit strategy for their employees. There may be companies that are not important, that they don't care about a beautiful human experience on that. What I was thinking about is that is super helpful information. So when you build your ideal customer profile or the companies you wanna kind of focus on, if you're going to do a focus on an ABM campaign or account-based marketing campaign, this is great information, because I just want to make sure that I go or find companies or get people to help me find the companies that would be interested in a human personalized experience when it comes down to layoffs or exiting talent, right? And so that was very useful. The other thing is you need to kind of make sure that exiting strategies can be quite cumbersome, because it's got a lot of legal implications. So she pointed that out as like, you will need to be very aware and work in collaboration with legal teams as well as HR, which, to be honest, I didn't have my radar, but it makes a ton of sense. So was there MVP progress? There was no MVP progress on the idea. It was more like a research mode and closing the books on the end of financial year for Blue Melon, my other company, which the team did amazing. They hit the EBIT targets above 20%. Woohoo! They did great. Well, they did good on target for the gross profit margin, above 49%. Woohoo! And we kept expenses under 25%. Woohoo! So that was all good. That was all great. We still, obviously, the team will have a lot of challenges to come in the next 12 months, as it's a tough market out there, and it's something that I'm sure they're gonna be working, and so we've been planning on that. I did, on the flip side, going back into reinvention of this idea, came to my attention about this R&D tax incentive here in Australia. I don't know if you're in another country, there's some incentives. In Australia, there's one, and I was talking to this person called Bin, and it's an incentive. I think that what they're trying to do is getting people or companies to test things using AI or technology that they wouldn't test otherwise. It's not a grant, it's not a fund, it's just more like you spend some dollars and then you get some cents back or reduced in a tax bill. So because I'm bootstrapping everything at the moment, I think any financial benefit will be awesome. And the other thing I did, which is not an MVP progress, but more experimentation with AI, I'm trying to experiment with little experiments because it's really hard to keep track of what's out there. I created myself a centralized location for all my prompts with labels, with which large language model they're using, what's the output, what's the prompt, what's the use case, and it's all filtered and you can search it and you can have different views. And I did that in Notion using their AI tool, and it's all free. So if you kind of want, like if you have a lot of prompts everywhere, maybe check out Notion and then their AI little tool. And it literally is just on Notion, you click the AI little agent, tell it that you want an AI database to keep all your prompts centralized, and with maybe some variables you want, labels, categories, name, title, use case, whatever it is, and it builds it really quickly. So that was pretty cool. I enjoyed that for sure. What has happened this week? Signals. Did I get any signals? When I keep talking to people, because now obviously it's top of my head, so I try to talk to people about it. I want to build this thing about helping people reinvent themselves. It's a beautiful thing. And when I talk about it, I'm hearing crickets. And I'm not sure if it's the idea. I'm not sure if it's because I'm not talking to the right people, or I'm not talking, is it what I'm saying not making sense? So early days, but I just wanted to show that or to document this moment, because maybe these things become something one day. Days like when I talk to people, or this stage, this chapter, there's not much resonance. But what I did get twice from very close people is they were telling me, hey Juan, you know what? You need a circuit breaker. And what a circuit breaker is, I didn't know what it was, me no English. But what it is completely disconnecting to all the patterns and things you're doing, and just to break all your habits. And you need to go and do something completely different. So it feels uncomfortable to even think about it, because I don't want to lose all the thinking and all the stuff that I've done. But I sometimes keep falling into very repetitive patterns that are keeping me stuck. So I can see where they're coming from. And I feel exhausted. I feel kind of I don't know if it was the end of financial year or what it was, but whoa, I feel like it's been quite tiresome. I had twice, where I felt stuck and I had to stop again and breathe. And then it's kind of like this roller coaster. So yeah, that was uncomfortable. When you hear it, you probably need this circuit breaker, and all I want to think is, I just want to be building something now. I can't take time off. I can't, And the head keeps saying, you see, I told you don't have the experience, you don't have the time, you don't have that. All these kind of stories that they're not very helpful. And most times people go, oh, just don't think about it, or change your thinking, bring positive thoughts, or man, sometimes it's tricky to just go, okay, no, don't worry about it. It's all good. So yeah, I don't know how you feel about it if you're building alone, how that goes. And it goes back again, man, to this community world. Like I've tried and I keep trying, but not successfully to just be connected to some people on a face-to-face value. And I keep coming back to this idea, and I probably said it a lot. We want to be connected, but we don't prioritize it. We want to be more like better friends and better with people, but we didn't take the time and the effort and what it takes to make it happen. So yeah, and more on community, maybe I'll reflect in a second. But I was also thinking, did I get any signals of clarity or momentum? And fantastic that the business, Blue Melon, my other business, hit with those amazing positive goals. That was so good, to be honest. but I'm feeling exhausted. I'm confused about the reinvention of OS direction. And it's weird because you got a positive and a I wouldn't say a negative, it's a thing. Because I need to make more progress in understanding HR needs. And I haven't done that. What am I going to do next week? So I think for next week I need to start to figure out a way of getting more HR people that are on exit strategies or planning layoffs. I need to validate I have this top level idea of what an MVP could be, 3 tracks that could be offered people when people get laid off. I need to work on a revenue model that works on expenses and revenue, and at what point you start to see your break-even point. And that's just to get an idea on what the numbers would look like if I were going to build an experience that uses those 3 tracks. And by 3 tracks, I mean a track that is helping people find a job, another one is helping people reinvent themselves, like what I'm doing now. And another one is if somebody would like to test maybe entrepreneurship or starting their own business, which is something I've done in the past, that could be another track. So people that may have some savings and may have an idea and they don't know how to even go about it, then you can help them with that particular thing. So yeah, that's the reflection. Do I have something to celebrate? Let's close out with a celebration. Yeah, easy celebration. Blue Melon did great, and that's a great thing to celebrate. It supports everything we do. What lesson did I learn? I heard this, and I'm going to butcher it because I don't talk like Alex or Mossy, but he was doing a podcast in the Modern Wisdom, 4 hours. Pretty interesting. They go on a lot of topics, and they do a lot of amazing stuff. So if you have the time and you're interested, have a listen to it. What I keep thinking about is don't get stuck on the past. So he was talking about once you suffer this thing, once you go through this thing and you suffer it once, but that's it, move on. Just keep going. There's no need to keep suffering that thing. Don't keep dwelling on the back and suffering it again. Don't know how he does it, because I sometimes immediately go back and you go, oh, if I had done that, if I tried that, But I can see the point is, don't get stuck on the past. Just take the lessons and move on. Absorb the pain once. Absorb it, digest it, take it. Sure, something sucked. It sucked, but that's it. Then when you get a chance, kind of move on. So that's an interesting one. Not one that I have mastered, but something that I need to pay more attention so I can live a bit more kind of in the present, And I did want to say something that I got a beautiful surprise and insight is the realization. And that's also from that podcast. So he starts to talk about the partner and then make me reflect on my partner. And I'm very lucky to have a partner like Jax. That it's true. Like having someone that supports you no matter what journey you're in, that it's there not just to count your wins only, but also when you're down, and that believes more in me than me. That's just that's another level, So I'm that insight and that surprise was wow. Independent of whether I'm building an idea or the company keeps going, but it's having someone that, excuse my Espanol, when shit hit the fan, is there with you. And when you decide to make a walk on this strange idea that doesn't exist, goes, I gotcha. You go for it. And when you go and say, I don't know if I'm going doing this, there's all this uncertainty, and she goes, I get it, but you got this. Give it a go. Doesn't matter. What's the worst that can happen? Keep walking, keep doing. And that is insane. I love that. So I'm going to close with that. Pretty crazy. Not as fast progress as I would have liked to in my things. By now, I would have to say, we're going doing these. And not the case. Not the case. So next week will be a different one. Thank you for listening, and I hope you're well. Ciao.